Well, hello everybody. This is Brian Hernandez, and we are here with a Pizza Power Forum preview. It's going to be a preview of the pizza conference that we are having in Atlanta, Georgia, September 4th and 5th. I'm going to go and try to go live here real quick on a. Sorry, guys, I had to shut myself up. But anyway, Pizza Power Forum, Atlanta, Georgia, September 4th and 5th. It's going to have some of the best minds in pizza there, giving some of the best advice and answering all your questions. Today, we have one of the many wisdom layers of knowledge eggs. I'm trying to come up with a cool analogy, and that was terrible, so I take that back. But anyway, before I sound stupider, Alexandra Castro of Pizza with Ale up in Stamford, Connecticut. Welcome to the preview, Alexandra.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
So you've got like several titles on what you do. Why don't you just tell us who you are and what you do a little bit, and then we can kind of jump into a couple of the topics that you'll be talking about and let people ask their questions here live. And I did want to let people know, ask your questions in the comment area, and we'll be able to see them and get them answered. So
Okay.
Go ahead, take it away.
Okay, so hi everyone. Just in case you don't know me, I'm Alexandra. You can find me on Instagram as Pizza with Ali. It's actually Pizza with Ali because my name is Alexandra. So one thing, funny thing is that now that I'm here living in the States, everyone thinks that it's Pizza with Ale. So it's actually Pizza with Ali, which is Pizza with Ale. That's how my friends call me. So now maybe fun fact. And yeah, right now I'm based in Stamford, Connecticut, and I do mainly I'm a instructor. I do a lot of pizza workshops, and in general, because I'm not only a pizza maker, I also went to culinary school. And besides that, I have catering business, so it's workshop and catering pretty much. And of course, I create a lot of content. On Instagram mainly, but I also have TikTok. I don't move that much, but yeah, right now I'm trying to YouTube and stuff, but mainly Instagram, and you can see all my journey there. I've done like few things, not only pizza, but right now you're able to see my journey only in pizza, which is exciting.
Yeah. Well, I mean, just even that first video that I showed, just showing the quality of pizza coming out of those ovens, those portable ovens, is insane. And I mean, you're doing that on a regular basis, and the beauty of it is that you teach people how to do it. I mean, you teach a Neapolitan pizza class, make authentic Neapolitan
Exactly,
pizza.
I do Neapolitan.
But is it? It looks like from here, it looks like it's taught on like a backyard style oven, something that everybody can do.
Exactly. It's one of those
Now,
portable ovens. So they are
mhm.
small ovens. So I do
Okay, so
online classes with those, right? And then I do
mhm.
like hands-on workshops here. People loved it.
Are those skills translatable to larger, like I don't want to say true pizza ovens, but you know what I mean, like an oven in a pizza
Yeah.
shop too?
Yeah, correct. I mean, it works the
Okay.
same. Of course, the ovens in a pizza shop are bigger, but it's pretty much the same concept. Of course, if you are having like you're making 10 pizzas at a time, well, it requires a skill rather than having just one pizza. But in terms of like technique, is the same. And then with the time, you get
Right.
improve to be able to make more pizzas at a time in one of those big ovens.
Yeah, okay, that's the answer I knew it was when I asked the question. I'm like, that's a stupid question. But
No, it's fine.
but I want to say hi to Eric Bam. Hello, Eric. Is one of the
Hello,
biggest fans of the
Eric.
pizza team, and he just wrote a book. Tell me the name of it. I'll throw it up there, buddy. Um, Something about a journey. I have to get it yet. Still, I feel bad. I haven't bought it and taken my picture with it. So, but that being said, Eric, thank you for joining us. Anybody else, you can comment like Eric did, and we can see your questions here. So we want to touch on a couple subjects that you'll be talking about at the Pizza Power Forum in
Yeah.
September 4th and 5th in Atlanta, Georgia, which is going to be, you are speaking on perfecting your dough. And as I told you, and everybody knows, everybody's talked about that, like everyone I've done so far. But you're also speaking on building a menu that performs.
Correct.
And looking at some of the like the creations that you have here, I mean, there's a lot of imagination going in there, but I assume it's not just for color's sake. You know, I mean, you have your basic margaritas right there, but what are you going to be kind of talking on? What is one of the biggest tips for anybody trying to build a menu that has a menu that's underperforming? What's the first thing they can do to turn it around?
Okay, so I think it's very important every time that I'm I'm building a menu, I ask, if I'm working with someone, I'm always going to ask them what's their idea, like which concept they have, so then I can start working based on that, because there's a lot of pizzerias, but we need to have something that is going to make the difference from our competition. And then once I know what's the concept, which I don't think, sometimes people is like, oh, okay, I have like maybe some money, I like pizza, I'm just going to start running a pizza business, but I think it's more than that. And once you have that concept, that for some people is very difficult at the beginning to understand what a concept is, but once you have the idea, then I start looking into the competition. What's the competition doing? Because that's very important to do a lot of benchmark. So we know, because maybe we think that we have a really great idea that is unique, and then we realize that someone else is doing it, or like more than two businesses are doing that. So it's very important, besides having an idea, to know if someone else is doing it in the area we are, or if they are not. And once that I have that benchmark, then I just start doing like building the menu, right? I start with the basics. And the menu is going to be also something that we have to build, thinking of the capacity we have in like the pizzeria, right? Because a lot of pizzerias are just pizzerias, and we only have the space for the pizzas, the oven and the countertop to make the pizzas, but we don't have an actual kitchen, for example, right? So it's more complicated to think about adding things to the menu that is going to be difficult for us to develop or make, So I will start that. Maybe if they want some apps, or they just want to focus in pizzas as the main dish. Also, if they want desserts. So I will start so they know their concept. They know what the competition is doing. That is very important, right? And then I start thinking, okay, can I make some apps? Can I make something different than pizza, or just pizza and then desserts, right? And those are the basics. And based on those three things, then I start building the basics of the menu, that most of the times are the products that people is always asking. Like, for example, a margarita pizza, that's something you need to have on your menu, right?
Right.
And most of the times, those basic products are the ones that give us more revenue, right? Because at the same time, a lot of people is asking for them, and most of the time, those are the items that require like less less investment, or the food cost is lower, So I will do that, and then I start building the depending on the concept that the client wants, I will start adding the specialties of the pizzeria, and that's like the creative part. And I think sometimes less is more, and that's something that I apply every time that I'm building a menu. And is that I don't like those menus that has like 50 items. I try to go like very specific, doing things that are very. I like to be very creative in terms of presentation. I like to make the pies look very pretty, as you can see. And so I think that's something that is very unique, coming from me, and me as a woman also. But of course, they have to be delicious. I try my best also to work, and this is something that is mine. I like to work with local like business. I like to
Yeah.
work with products like farms. They always have like gorgeous stuff, especially in summer, like greens, fruits, vegetables. And they always get like, besides they are very beautiful and flavorful, they are always very unique. You can find like very weird stuff with the farm. So I like to go local and with farms, even with cheese, like anything that I know that can be produced differently and also can help the environment. I think that's something I like to follow, and that's something I like to apply to anywhere I go to build a menu. And also, I think that's something that right now a lot of people are looking for. So yeah, I will definitely, if I have a menu that is not performing, I will start looking why it's not performing, which items are not performing, and why. I think it's very important to have a connection with the client. It's not only
Hmm.
about like, okay, this is not performing, but we don't know why. So having an open communication, we have a lot of social media right now, and that's very interesting because we can have a lot of yeah, you can have a lot of like questions on stories or ask the people what they want, what they don't want, if they like this. They're always going to tell you what they like and what they don't like. So I think that's very useful, you know.
Right. Well, it's easier to get access to them. You know, in the days before social media, you used to have to do surveys, hand out pen and paper or whatever. Now, whether you want it or not, they're going to give you their opinion.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
well, I had a couple questions on that. And Eric Bam, I don't know what the thing was about my marshmallows in the s'more, but I'm like, I'm brown. Don't burn them. But his book was Dreaming Again, a roadmap back to you. That's for my friend Eric. But I did want to say, you know, you mentioned about, you know, knowing your market and knowing what your competition is doing. When you see that, do you steer clear of what they're doing? Do you try to do something completely different? Or is it, you know, can you do it as well because it's apparently working? You know, can you mimic it? Should you try to steer clear of doing the same thing your competition is doing?
Well, it depends. I think it's going to depend, right? But I think it's important, especially with social media. It's very easy to do benchmark, you know, because you get to
Mm-hmm.
see what they do, how they're doing it, how it looks, the presentation. You get to see all the comments of people. So maybe you have a pie with apples that they posted with bacon. I don't know, I'm just saying something random, right? But then you get to see a lot of bad comments. But maybe I thought that apples with bacon was a good idea because you saw it, I don't know, like on a reel or somewhere. And you thought that because it was apple season, it was a great idea because apples were going to be cheaper, right? But then you get to see all these bad comments. Well, then maybe the area where you are, maybe it's not a good idea. Maybe people don't like apples, you know?
Yeah.
So either that or there's like things that always work. For example, there was, I think last year, I don't know, like the carbonara pizza. It went like very viral online. That's another thing. You get to
Yeah.
see on reels a lot of things that are going viral. Some of them they don't work, of course, but some of them are really good and really good ideas. So you get to do that as an you get to get that as an idea, and then you get to perform that idea in a different way that is the same base, but you give it like a twist, so it's not the same that everyone is doing, you know.
Right.
But the
Well,
concept is
that's
the
what I was
same, the
going to.
idea is the same.
Yeah, that's at the base. It's the same, like you said, concept. Just put your own flair on it. That's what I like to do with anything you do. It's like just don't copy it, you know,
Mm-hmm.
embellish or you know, make it your own. So
Make it
otherwise, you
try to
just feel
make
like
your
a
own.
thief.
Even if I don't know, even if you change the cheese for other type of cheese, or either if you the presentation how it looks is different,
Yeah.
or maybe the same flavor but it's not a pizza, it's I don't know, a calzone. I'm just saying things, but you can have the same thing in a different
Yep.
shape, and you know, and people is going to like it.
Okay. Well, I like that. I'm going to ask one more question about the menu, and then we'll jump over to Latinas and pizza, which is something that I'm
Great, I
excited to
love
talk
that.
about. I got a T-shirt that I haven't had a chance to wear yet because I'm like the only Latino in pizza in
Yeah, I
Mississippi. But
have the affiliation.
but yeah, so and this is probably self evident, but you know, what is the first sign that your menu needs help? Let's say if somebody's in denial, you know what I mean? Because I mean, obviously, if you're not making money, your menu needs help.
I
Something,
was
you
like
know,
saying
there's the
you need to check the sales.
I might need to take that question back too, because like I said, it's kind of an obvious question, but you know, if somebody's in denial, what is I
Well,
get. I don't know. I guess I don't know. They just tell me something. The best thing about adjusting your menu, because that is a horrible question, and I feel bad as an interviewer right now. But
well, no, I
um,
mean, yeah, it's what you said. I mean, if something is not selling, so last year I was the head chef in this restaurant in Montreal, right? It was a pizzeria. And I will do every month. Of course, I will check the sales every week, you know, but then
right.
every month is like you have bigger numbers so you get to see. Uh, if you're not selling something, you should like take it out of from the menu, you know. Uh, yeah, I will say that. Also, it can be that you have a lot of items on the menu, because sometimes we think that more is better, but like again, sometimes less is better, especially because when you have a lot of items on the menu, then you have a lot of food cost because you need to have
Right.
a lot of ingredients. So it can also be that, but at the same time, if you're the point is that if you're not selling something, that's when you know that you need to remove that item from the menu, or maybe just ask again your customers, hey, uh, we have this, but it's not selling. Like on Instagram is really easy. Again, we go back to social. You can ask them, and maybe you realize that they do like it, but then I don't
Yeah.
know, they want a different cheese, or maybe every time they go there they give that product to them, and how do you say that, burned, it can be a lot of
Right.
things. Maybe it's not the product itself, it can be also how our staff is making everything. Maybe the sauce is not the sauce that you thought it you needed, and the staff is doing it wrong. So it can be a lot of things, but as long as we
Right.
keep an open communication, I think that's the important part.
Well, yeah, and thank you, by the way, for pulling me out of that horrible question. That was a great answer.
No,
But
because
it,
you know
it,
what I think, a lot of you can deal with a lot of owners that are in completely denial, and also because they get very nostalgic, because I don't know, because
right.
that was the flavor who remind them their grandmother.
Yeah,
Sometimes you
and
just
that's
can't do anything. It is
and that's
reality, especially when you're working in with the small businesses. It's very complicated because it's not a corporation. It's the owners and you, and then everything gets more, like more nostalgic. So taking something is more complicated sometimes.
well, and that's exactly what I meant. Is about like something that is a smaller, where it's like it's obvious that it needs to change, but they're stuck to it. So it was more, an existential thing of how do you jar them free and see reality. But I do like that you keep coming back to that. With today, social media is a great way to get that feedback. I mean, you have to sift through a lot of crap to get there, but you'll find a pearl eventually. But I do
Yeah,
want to say hello to everybody. I'm sorry. Go
just to
ahead.
finish. Yeah, because that made me. Now I remember something. Even, yeah, sometimes uh, you have a pie that you really like, but then you have only 10 people ordering that pie, that flavor, and then you decide that you want to take that from the menu, but then you have
Yeah.
those 10 people going to your pizzeria now asking, they don't find that, but they are regulars. So it's, I mean, yeah, it's
It
a little complicated, I guess.
It is, but I mean, again, maybe it's not that you need to remove it, just rethink
Uh-huh.
it and
Rethink
put a
it.
new flair
Uh-huh.
on it. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
just adjust it a little bit, make it new and exciting. But they want to
Mhm.
say thank you to everybody who's joined us. Wheels of Fire Pizza Company says hello from the UK, guys. I think that's how they say it over there. But if you guys are anywhere near Carterton, England, that's where I grew up as a little kid. So go say hello to Carterton, England, Edith Morehouse Elementary. So now I want to jump over to something that's something I don't know much about, but it's something that Alessio and Sophia are also involved in. But Latinas in pizza, Latinos in general. What is this about? Is it local, national, and what do you guys do? Or just kind of tell us what it's about, and maybe something that you'll be speaking
So
about.
Latinos in pizza is a really, really great movement project, who of course was started by Sofia. She's Venezuelan, of course, and she got married with Alessio. We all know that story. But I want to say it's not local. I want to say it's in the country. I think it's everywhere, because we are talking about all those Latin pizza makers who are doing an excellent job, and they don't have the recognition they are supposed to get, because again, I think pizza is something we think as something that an Italian does or an American does, but now lately in the past years, a lot of people in Latin America especially, I mean, we love pizza. I think is something that is universal, right? But I
Right.
think, again, when you think about pizza, you think Europe or you think America, right? But we have amazing people making pizzas, and in the last years we had a lot of Latin pizza makers specializing, so getting better with the craft. So I think that's something that representation is always important, and that's what Sofia with Latinos and Pizza, and of course Alessio, they wanna make sure that happens, that all those Latin makers, pizza makers, have recognition, especially because I'm going to talk about this country, America. We know that when we go to the restaurants, the ones who are in the kitchen are Latin people, are Latinos. So all Latinos are involved with the industry. So yeah, it's very it's good to that they get to have a voice through this project. We have a lot of people. There's a lot of talent, and we have a lot of like amazing. Also, Latin women. Right now, I don't know if you saw that Daniela from Chile. She just won the Caputo Cup. That has never happened. She's a woman and she's a Latina from Chile. We also have.
Yeah.
We have from Leña, that is in Mississippi, Marisol. She just was posted in the New York Times as one of the 22, I think, best pizzerias in all America. And she's Mexican. So there's a lot of talent that is not, that people is not aware of, but it's just because people is historically think that, that we don't make pizza or whatever, which is fine. But now there's a lot of talent. So it's a really nice project. Again, representation matters. So everyone is very happy with the project. We have a Juan G Pizza. He's Colombian. We all know Juan, and he's great. So yeah, it's very.
I'm sorry. Which one? Which one?
Juan from Boston, from Posto.
Oh, I'm not sure. I thought you were talking Juan Hermosillo from Mexico.
No, Juan, he's Colombian. He's also one of the ambassadors for the brand. So, we have a lot of talent there, which is very exciting. Marisol is saying hi. She's one.
Hello, Marisol.
Amazing,
Hola.
And it feels really nice because I think we have a sense of community. We have a couple months ago, I really told Sofia that we should even, because I'm a woman, right? I'm a woman in pizza, but I'm also a Latina in pizza, and I speak Spanish. So this is very important to understand because all the movements that are around pizza are either, I don't know, in Italian, I guess, or in English, but there's nothing like a Spanish-speaking project who support pizza makers. So this is also very, very, very important. But I told Sofia that I thought it was very important because this is a male-dominated industry, even if it's just Latin men, right? That we should, come with a community of women, because I know that there's a lot of girls who are doing a great job. Again, Marisol is one of I could mention a lot of them. We right now have a WhatsApp group. We have all these women that have been like joining, and it's really nice to see all that sense of community and all the support. We always, it's like one of us is winning something. It's like everyone is winning. So it's very nice to feel all the support and giving support to everyone.
No, it's I don't want to say a growing movement, but I guess it is a growing movement because it's just,
it is.
I want to say it's been there for a while, but it really hasn't. It's relatively new. So
exactly.
That's great. I'm excited that I was given a t-shirt early and can be actually legitimately part of it. Yeah, I hope my Irish half doesn't cancel out. My Irish English half doesn't cancel out the half Mexican part. But so I did. We got P. Chef Brolo says greetings from Detroit. Ranger Joe's Pizza. Hey, Ranger Joe. He says, what's up, Brian? So I'm really happy everybody's kind of jumping in on these and getting this big preview of what we're having in Atlanta, Georgia, September 4th and 5th, guys. This is at the Pizza Power Forum. Alexandra's going to be there with Alessio Laco, Sofia Aranga. Is that Arango?
Sofia Arango.
Arango. So, and plus many more. Wilhelm Rodriguez, too. And Joey Carvelas, Alex Kuntz, and I'm going to stop listing people. So is there in this movement, are you guys putting a focus on, or is there already just naturally focusing on the representing the culture through pizza, like Latino culture? So something like through flavors, or I guess it would be flavors mostly, or techniques. I mean, because we've Americanized pizza over here, you know, so we have our own techniques and way we do things. Did you know, Latinos do the same thing, being a lot of them, I was going to say closer to Italy, but I don't think that's true. My geography is horrible.
Yeah, I think right now it's more about the person, not the style, because you know there's a lot of
Okay.
a lot of pizza styles, and I guess each pizza maker gets to choose which style he wants to make is whatever. It's just more about the person. But at the same time, it's also about knowing and acknowledge that even though we don't have all the resources in Latin America that maybe Europe can have, like for example, the access to flour of quality in Latin America is more complicated, but it's again the same thing because no one until this point thought that Latin America was really important with pizza. So there's not a lot of brands who import good flour. Flour is just one thing, but can be many things, you know? So the point is that even though we don't have or we didn't have access to all of these things, there's people doing and making it happen, which is very important, even with local flours or whatever. This is just an example with flour. But again, like people get creative. That's something about, I think, Latin America with a lot of, we're lacking with few things. I don't want to say a lot because it's not like we live in a jungle. I want to make that clear, okay? Because a lot of people is going to think, oh yeah, she's meant because we are poor or something. No, we are not, okay? But like, especially with pizza, there's a lot of things that, you know, since it's a industry that is developing, then it's going slow. So a lot of people just like get creative and they mix things and they try to make it work, and then they make amazing pizzas out of like things that you thought that you couldn't do, you know. So something that I always talk with Sofia is like, if we are doing this without the right stuff that we should be using, imagine if we have access to everything, we will be like just as great as Italians or Americans or whatever.
Well, and I see Daniel Lee Perea, our old colleague, is jumping in watching this, and he had a good point that Steve Green actually had Latin America on his radar 15 years ago. We were doing a lot of stuff with Brazil.
Brazil,
and I think it's like you said,
they were winning everything. When they was like a
8 years ago.
They won a lot of things, and Argentina also won a lot of things recently. Yep. So it's happening, you know.
Yeah, but I mean, that's the thing is, it's not that. I mean, it's a business. Pizza is, in the end, it's a business. So they, you know, you guys weren't the market that the flour companies were looking for. So you did the best you could, and that's great.
Yeah.
And again, I like how you say we have to. We're not saying they all live in a jungle. All Latinos are in a jungle. You know, we have a Z in our last name. We're all,
you know. It's like everything. Yeah, if there's no market for something, they're just not going to bring things to sell.
Exactly. Well, that's I love that, and I like how you said it's not necessarily even about that culture necessarily. Currently, it's more just about the person shining through, saying, "Hey, look, I know how to do pizza too, but I also happen to be Latino or Latina." So, Latinx. I'm not sure how to exactly say that. I do apologize. I don't mean to offend anybody.
No, it's fine.
overall term. So, but if anybody wants to ask, I'm going to give about 1 or 2 more minutes here, and then if anybody wants to ask a question, I can see them in the Instagram on PMQ and the Facebooks. So if you want to ask a question there, go ahead. That's where I'm looking, left and right. So, what are you most excited about, and in the conference at this Pizza Power Forum, Alexandra? What are you excited about seeing as a speaker? You know, what are you looking forward to?
No, I'm really excited I'm always trying to learn from like the best people. So I'm really excited about like going to the different conferences and seeing all the colleagues talking about like what we love to do, that is pizza. So I'm really excited. All the networking is going to be really, really important, and all the knowledge. So yeah, this is something definitely I'm telling everyone that I know that is in the pizza business, like this is an event that you have to go because it's going to be very important, and there's going to be a lot of topics that we are going to be talking about. So I'm very excited about that.
Yeah, and I like how you're saying that. It seems to be because I'm asking all the speakers what they're excited about, and it's all this networking. Some of the big names that we have at the QSR and FSR side of the conference, you know, just huge. And I'm not going to tell them here. I want you to go to the website, pizzapowerforum.com, guys, and you can see who all is speaking on that side, plus the 16 other speakers we have for the pizza Power Forum. So yeah, and that's the beautiful thing is that Alexandra will go from sitting up on the stage and she'll get up and then just go sit in the audience and wait for the next person to start talking about what they're going to talk about. So
I think that's one of the nice things I found about the pizza community also is the support. It's a community that is always giving support no matter what. And pizza always is fun. And when you go to all these trade shows, if you go to Pizza Expo, it's also, of course, you're going to do a lot of networking, but it's also the time where you get to see your friends from the industry, because it's a very small industry. Right. Everyone knows everyone. So you get to have fun and work, and it's great. It's always great.
It really is, and it's such a small world. The first person I met, I went to high school with his wife, and it's just weird. So being up, they're almost like reunions, a lot of these events, which is great. We got a couple questions here, and then we'll let everybody go. So I do appreciate the participation, guys. There's a LinkedIn user, so that's cool. They logged in late, and they wanted to know if you have a pizzeria in Mexico or US. The answer is, I believe,
no.
Well, go ahead. Why don't you go ahead?
No, I don't have a pizzeria in the moment. I used to have one when I was even in Colombia, when I was like 22, actually. I had it for 3 years. Now I don't have it right now. I'm more focused in teaching, consulting, catering. That's what I'm doing right now. But I think we're thinking about a project maybe next year or 2 years from now to open something really, really fun with my husband. So yeah, we'll be here in the US.
Awesome. Well, I mean, you've got the skills and you're imparting them on other people. So that's great, helping us preserve this skill set. So I'm going to jump over here to Chef Brolo from Instagram. With so many pizza operators closing due to labor shortage, inflations, etc., would you mind sharing some of your innovative ideas?
Oh my God. I think it's a good question, but that's why I don't have a restaurant right now, especially because there's a lot of things happening, and I know it can be very difficult. Again, I think one of the most complicated things again is employees. But again, I think once you get before you start thinking about opening a pizzeria, I will say figure out, because it's not only you can make pizzas and you don't need to have a pizzeria. You don't need to own a shop. You can do catering, starting. You can have a food truck. You can start as an instructor. There's a lot of you can start consulting. So there's multiple ways you can do this, and that's what I'm doing right now. But I guess if you are planning to open a shop, it's something that you have to think about it and have a concept that is going to work for you. So it's more about that. You have to be very sure of what you're doing, how you're doing it to get revenue. Like what we are thinking right now with my husband is that we want to have something, maybe not something that is that big, something that is smaller, so we can control the quality. We get to be more personal with our employees, like a lot of things. So I think a brick and mortar is something that you have to think really well, especially right now. If you talk with a lot of chefs, they are going to tell you that right now with inflation and employees and everything and rent and everything is something you have to think about twice, or if you're going to do it, you have to do it thinking about everything and not just about the emotion. Because then, especially, and you know what, especially there's a lot of people, for example, that they are not trained or they don't know anything about pizza. They don't know anything about the business. They never been in a kitchen, and they just open. And I think that's the worst scenario, because then they just have some money again. They want to invest, and then they think the best way to do it is just open a shop, which is terrible. Okay, so I think this is something that if you're going to go ahead, you will need to have a lot of knowledge about it.
Yeah, that's I hear that a lot from people too. It's like, oh, it just seemed like it was a good idea. I had money, let's open a pizzeria. And it's just because it, as weird as it is, it looks like hard work on the TV and the movies, but it also is glamorized somehow in that. So, all right, well, we got one more question here. I'm sorry for the US Pizza Team Instagram people. It says it thought I was fake or something and just shut it down. So whatever, dude. Daniel Pereira has one more question for us. Thank you for chiming in, Daniel. You always had the best questions. What responsibilities to one's communities come with being a thought leader in the industry? Ooh, so as a big influencer in this industry, as well as a teacher instructor, what great responsibilities do you feel lie on your shoulders?
Well, I think that in order for you to be able to teach, you have to know what you're doing, especially sometimes. And even I get this like imposter syndrome where I think that I don't know enough to be able to teach someone, which I do know because I have a lot of experience. But again, I think it's more about helping them achieving or their goals, which sometimes again feels like a responsibility because then is it can be it feels a little tricky if someone is going to open a place because then you're going to feel that everything, all the information you give them, they're going to do it, and if it's not going to work, then it's going to be your fault, which is not true, you know.
No.
But again, yeah, I think just try to give the people all the information they need till they don't need it anymore, I guess.
Well, I mean, again, that's from a consultant side. I hadn't heard for a while. It's like, you know, you're going to tell them a lot of stuff. It might not all work, but it's not necessarily your fault. You know, it could be a lot of things, but it just sounds like your biggest responsibility is making sure that you get the people in a place where they can do the best they can.
Yeah.
And you got to take the training wheels off.
Especially if they're paying you, of course, you want them to do the best they can, you know. So I'm always there. Even when we finish what we're doing in the class or the consultation, whatever, I'm always there for any questions. I want to make sure that they achieve what they want to achieve.
Well, that's great. Guys, this is I really appreciate everybody's participation. Alexandra, you especially. I mean, this has been one of the most attended and participatory ones that we've had. So I think people are finally understanding that this is a conference. It's not a trade show. This is about this audience, not this is about people wanting to learn, not wanting to buy stuff. So we're hoping that there's going to be something for everybody, something for everyone to learn there. But if you want to register, please go to pizzapowerforum.com. It's going to be in Atlanta, Georgia, September 4th and 5th. If I can stumble through this ending. Alexandra Castro, where can people find you online for Pizza with Ali? Not Pizza with Ale, Pizza with Ali.
Thank you. Yeah, well, you can find me on my Instagram again at Pizza with Ali, Ali like ALE, like my name. Or you can go to my website if you're interested in any of the workshops I have, www.pizzawithali.com, and that's how you can find me. Everywhere, Pizza with Ali, and I'm going to be there.
Yeah, I suggest just type in Alexandra right after it because it will bring up a bunch of pizza with ales next to it, like a bunch of Pilsners and stuff like that.
Or Alexandra Castro also.
Yeah. It'll take you right there, guys. She's highly Googleable. It's a hard word to say. So again, everybody, thank you so much for your time. Alexandra, you especially. I look forward to doing some more of these with some more of the speakers coming up in the future weeks. So I will see all of you guys there. But until then, I hope you have a great weekend and pizza to the people.
Thank you so much, Brian. It was amazing. Thank you. See you soon.